Amazing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second session of the fourth ELT International Conference 2024. We are in room 4. Our first speaker is Beatriz Erazo, and her presentation is elevating EFL teaching with Baamboozle, Flippity, and Gartic phone strategies. I would like to ask all the attendees to mute their mics throughout the presentation, and questions will be addressed at the end of the session or throughout. It's gonna be an interactive session. So yeah, it's the room to you.
Thank you so much, Nadia, and welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to introduce a little bit about, introduce myself. Currently, I am a student, a doctoral student at the University of San Andres. I am an active member of TESOL International and the Bolivian English Teachers Association. And I work at 2 different universities, Higher University of San Andres and San Pablo Bolivian Catholic University. I teach English and communication. And one of the reasons that I am sharing these techniques is because nowadays it's kind of difficult to have students, motivated and like concentrated on their own learning. And we teachers, we have to come up with different ideas on how we have to, keep their interest. So today I would like to share 3 apps that I use in my classes to either motivate, to break the ice, to test knowledge for formative assessment. It depends what you want to do. It depends on your objectives. And these are games, yes, and games are fun. But the purpose here is to understand that games are not just simply that. They have to be focused on the learning objective. When you bring games, even if they are just to break the ice, there has to be an appropriate objective, an appropriate learning objective, because we don't have much time with our students in our classes, so we need to take the most advantage of it. So one of the presenters before talked about the differences between gamification and game-based learning. And I'm not going to deep a lot on that because he has already done that, but I would like to have it like very clear that it's not the same. When we use games in our classes, we are not gamifying it. When you gamify your class, all your class is a game from the beginning to the end. So there are rules that make it like a game. I am not going to talk about that today. I am going to concentrate on bringing games for my students to learn something, to practice the language, even for some assessment. Now, both of these ideas kind of connect in the way that, as we said, games have rules, games have a purpose, games have rewards, and they're not a traditional way to learn. And there is some healthy competition that happens in the class. They're very interactive. But the big difference is that one game is a small thing, a small strategy and activity that you will be doing in your class. And gamifying your class means that everything else is going to be a game. It's part of like a very long-term game. So we need to continue using technology in our classes. It doesn't matter if you are teaching on-site, face-to-face classes. It's a good idea that if you have the possibility, use the technology. If you are teaching online, of course, that these apps are going to be extremely helpful to you. And if you are teaching a hybrid class, when you have students that are in the classroom, but also students that are connecting from home, from work, or from a different city to your class, these apps are going to help you a lot. As beautiful Nadia said, this is going to be a pretty interactive session. So I would like you to participate. We're going to begin with Baamboozle. I hope you can see my my screen. I have lots of Baamboozle games that I prepared. You have to create them, or you are going to find a lot also in the community section. And the thing that you have to do is to play with your students. So after you have prepared your game and you want to say, okay, I am going to have, in this case, it's going to be a small demonstration. So I'm going to ask you to imagine that you are the teams. So we're going to have 4 teams, and I'm going to make it small, only 2 rounds. These are the questions that I have prepared. This was just for my students to practice their general knowledge. We wanted to have fun. We had an extra day of classes, so we had finished even with the exams and everything. So we're going to have like this activity. You have different options that you can use to change the dynamics of the game, and you can change even the themes. In this case, I have chosen the symbols. So just click on classic. I'm sorry, something is happening. It seems we're going to be kicked out. But once, in this case, my learning objective was just for the students to practice the language, to speak, and also to test their general knowledge. So, Nadia, you are going to be my team 1. Would you please choose one of the symbols?
Can I have the dinosaur, please?
This one. Okay. Oh, sorry. Bad luck. You go to the last place. I am sorry. Lady, maybe you can choose one of these.
The butterfly?
The butterfly. Okay. In which country does the Yangtze River flow? Do you know?
Okay. Will I try again?
Just give us 1 second
I'm
here.
sorry, there was a technical glitch here. We had to close the breakout rooms. We're opening again. You kindly rejoin. Sorry about this.
Okay, never mind.
Hello, I don't know what happened.
There was
We are back.
is
Give me a moment, please. Okay, so I think I was torturing my good friend Lady.
Yeah, I don't know the answer.
Okay, don't worry. This is just a demonstration. It is in China. We are going to imagine that she answered correctly. So maybe Donald, can you help us?
Yeah, sure.
Choose one.
The light bulb.
How many colors are in a rainbow?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. 12.
Okay. 7. Sorry.
Oops.
So you understand how this goes. How do I do this in my class? My students make groups of 4 students. They have to choose one spokesperson, somebody that is going to speak on behalf of the team. And they will have 15 seconds to discuss the answer and come up with something. And when they choose all the pictures, then we have a winner. And as you can see here, I have lots of grammar exercises that I have used either, for example, this is a review of their second partial exam. I have used it for them to practice, for example, ever, using ever, or relative clauses or passive voice, or even contexts such as the traffic rules in our country, in Bolivia. So this is very dynamic. And it promotes lots of speaking and listening because the students are eager to they want to get these things. And it's very funny because you can be sent to the last to the last place, but also you can get extra points or something like that. And it's very interesting. It's very flexible, and you can adapt it to whatever you want to do in your class. So that is Baamboozle. The advantage of Baamboozle is that you have the opportunity to have a variety of possibilities of games. When you click on game, you can do these different things. I strongly recommend that you test them before you use them. I'm going to run to the second one. Probably you know it's Flippity. Flippity is it's for free. You can always use it for free, and it's very nice and easy to use. This is my favorite. This is my favorite, the board game. You click on this and you're going to receive just the instructions. You are going to be asked to open a Google sheet in which you can modify the answers. As I said, this is my favorite. And this is one of the creations that I've made for my students. If I have students on site, I will have this board game like physical, you know, the copies and the dice, and the students will come up with their tokens. If you have a hybrid class or you're teaching online, you can use this version. How do you play it? I'm going to play with, again, just because I know you and you are my friends, with Nadia, Lady, and Donald. You can have in each game up to 8 players. You see the 8 tokens. So I am going to begin this game. It's a number 4. I'm going to be the red one, so I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's a tell, so I have to share the anecdote that I have here. So the worst job I've ever had, probably, well, I cannot tell names, but I didn't like my boss. So probably boss made my life difficult. But the students are supposed to talk a little bit more. This is just a demonstration, right? So I'm going to throw the dice for Nadia. Nadia, you're going to be, what color do you like?
Can I be blue, please?
Blue. So you're going to go to number 3. And you have to ask a question. So you can ask me or Lady or Donald. Ask the question. Choose a person and ask the question.
I would like to ask you, Beatriz. Actually,
Okay.
there is a question from the chat. It's not mine. Someone is asking if the Baamboozle
Oh,
is...
no. I would like to ask the question that you see here on the screen.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. So what's your opinion about marriage? Is it an outdated institution? Why or why not?
Thank you so much. So you know how the thing goes. Then again, I will throw the dice for Lady. Oh, Lady, you are very lucky. What color do you choose?
Orange, please.
Okay, so she's the number 6. I go to number 6. And also she has to choose a person to ask a question. So ask another person. And I'm going not to go like, I'm going to say thank you to Nadia and Lady, but this is what happens in a game like this. You can use it for grammar, you can use it for vocabulary, or like this one, it was just for my students to know each other and to have something to talk. However, if you paid attention, sometimes they had just to share experience. In other cases, they had to ask somebody the questions, they had to modify it. I don't know if you have noticed, I like cats. So you can change the pictures, you modify the things that they have to say, and it's not necessary that you provide as many opportunities, but if there are 8 people playing in the group, so it's a good idea to have lots of questions. This is a very active activity. Students talk, students listen to it. So it's quite nice. It's not difficult to prepare, and the instructions are very clear here. You simply create the game by accessing the template. You have to make a copy of it, and you modify the copy. Now, in that copy, you can change the pictures, you can change. So here you have, these are the pictures, here are the instructions that you can make. In this case, instead of having these flippity things, I changed it to the cats. And once you finish making all the modifications here with enough time, the only thing that you have to do is to publish it. You publish it to the web. Now, I didn't do any changes. You copied the link. I didn't do any changes. You are going to see how the original game looks. I'm sorry, I forgot to do to change the card decks. That's something that you have to do. But in the end, it's a nice possibility. I'm going to go to the last game because I would like to have time for this. And you go to garticphone.com. I've been using, I use this activity with my students last semester, and they enjoyed it a lot. It's a good idea that you create an account, but it's not obligatory. You can change the language, different languages here. So mine is in English. You click on Start. And you can choose the number of participants that you have. I'm going to choose just 4. And again, I'm going to ask Lady, Donald, and Nadine to help me in the chat. I'm going to share the link. So please access the link. Okay, thank you, Donna. And while my friends connect, I would like to use this activity to work a little bit on syntax, a little bit on grammar, maybe. So we are going to concentrate on using the present continuous for future arranged plans. Thank you, Lei. Thank you so much. So once you have that, we're going to choose the normal. When you have more time, you can choose the other possibilities, but we're going to choose the normal. Then it says start. All of you, including me, we have to write a sentence in the present progressive tense about a plan arranged that you have immediately after this conference, after you finish the conference. So you are going to see my example when your students are playing, they are not going to see your example. So I am having breakfast. That is my sentence. It's going to be simple. And you click on done. Do the same. You can do this in your computers. You can do this with the cell phones. It's very easy to use. So once everybody done it, you have to draw. Yes, so I have to draw the sentence that I have here. So this is going to be me. You draw your things, please. Like this. And this is my son. Drawing in the, and, oh, okay. I'm going to change that. I don't like that color, so I'm going to change the color of that. Okay, that's it. And the cell phone is a little bit easier because you can use your finger, or maybe you have to use your pen. Now I'm going to draw a net. This is going to be the net for that. I am assuming when you said football, you said soccer. So yeah, Okay, if you're happy with it, you just click on done. We have to wait for the other two players to finish. We're going to give them some time. Now, how do I do this in my classes with my students? I created groups and I said one person is going to be the one playing my role right now, beginning the game. They can either share via WhatsApp or they can send them the link via messages or the LMS that you are using. And they do exactly what we are doing. They write something, they draw something. I always emphasize them that they have to respect the apostrophes, they have to respect the spelling. I give them all the necessary tools to write the best sentences they can. You can do whatever you want, but in this case, we're practicing something related to grammar. If you don't like this, you can click on edit and you can still modify the your drawing. We are waiting for one per, okay. Now, this is the drawing of somebody else. Now, I have to write a sentence in the present progressive, right, of the plan of these persons. So maybe I am having lunch with a friend. Okay, so click. That ring says that we need to finish. Okay. I've used this to with my students to talk to practice causatives. I've used this with my students to talk about norms and disciplines that we have to have in our classes. It's all it's very versatile, and it's pretty funny. And this is going to be me again, but this time I'm going to put, I'm wearing blue jeans. Now, it's very funny to see in a red t-shirt. Yeah. And like this. Now, my students were working on these, they were laughing, they were very concentrated on these, on their drawings. And all of a sudden, a group of students just entered my classroom and they were like, laughing, writing. And I said, excuse me, but we are in classes. And they looked at me and they said, but your students are so concentrated on the cell phones, we don't think they were in classes. Well, they are writing and they are drawing. So that was kind of funny. And it doesn't say exactly who I am going to visit, so I am going to assume that I am visiting my cat. That's it. And I am done. It's not a good idea that you have too many players. It's better if you have only 4 or 5, so the groups are going to be smaller. Otherwise, this is going to take too long. I also know that some of my students have used this with their classmates outside the classroom. And that was a nice thing. Some of them were practicing the language, others were doing it in Spanish. It's up to them, but at least they were taking advantage of the tool. So we are going to wait for the other players to finish. Okay, so once everybody has finished, we are going to see the album. So I am having breakfast and somebody drew that for me. And this is the funny thing where students can talk about their stuff. Then I'm having, and it was like that. You see? If you didn't finish all the drawings, then they are not going to show up. But when you finish all the drawings, there's something that we can see here. Now, don't worry, it didn't work out as much because this is just a demonstration. So don't worry if it didn't work that as much. So I talked to you about Baamboozle, Flippity, and Gartic phone. And I think we have time now for questions. I'm going to stop sharing. Yes. Thank you, lady. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Nadia. I know I have tortured you. I do appreciate your help.
So there was a few questions before on the chat. The first one was if you could use all the features of Baamboozle for free.
Yes, Baamboozle. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to share my screen again. Baamboozle has various of their features for free, and that is an advantage, I would say. When you click on your game, you can have up to 3 games that you can design, but you can use the games of other people without modifying. And when you click on play, here is telling you which ones are to be paid and which ones are not. And it depends on what you want your students to do. This one is for free, but it's the one also that my students like the most. I've tried the others with them when they were offering, you know, and they didn't enjoy them as much as this one. Like playing these games and with all the things that you can modify, it's very nice. And as you could see here, there are also other things that you can do. You can have you can modify this, you can change the names of the games, and you can also repeat the game and replay the game with the students, and they can, especially if it's something important like the grammar, for example, they can, I forgot the word, review the items, and you can explain the things.
Amazing, thank you. Another question on the chat. Can we use Flippity on a one-to-one basis online?
Yes, absolutely. I share the link with my students, with all the students, and I usually tell them, well, you have the link, play at home. And they can play with somebody or they can play it on their own. It's up to them. In my class, however, they always work in teams because I want them to talk, I want them to discuss. And if it's online, you create your breakout rooms, students go to the breakout room, and one has to be sharing the screen. And he's the one that is, or she's the one that is going to be moving, you know, the games and everything else. So it's possible to be done. At the beginning, it goes slow until the students understand, you know, the thing, the process and the instructions and everything, and you have to be visiting them. But then they become autonomous. At the third or the fourth time that I use Flippity with different games with them, they just, okay, Beatriz, thank you, goodbye. And they do it on their own. So the first time is going to be difficult. After that, no.
Amazing, thank you. Just a few comments from the chat. Wonderful activities, love the drawings. Thank you, great tools. Thank you. So,
Thank you so much.
any other questions at all?
Maybe somebody else would like to ask something else?
No?
No.
If not, we could move to our next presenter.
Yes,
thank
I
you
would
so
like
much.
to say something else before we go.
Yeah.
A personal recommendation. Please, first test these activities. Test and adapt them to your own context. I've attended lots of webinars where they suggest marvelous apps, but they just do not work in my context. So test them, pilot them, and tell your students, this is the first time I'm using this, and I would like you to help me and give me your feedback at the end. And with the feedback of my students, I have made these activities successful strategies. That's my last piece of advice. Thank you so much for being here and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you, Nadia, for your help, and especially thanks to Donald and to Lady. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Beatriz.